Hey guys, in today's video, the Shockwave Hammer just got nerfed, and I had this video prepared earlier in the week when the Shockwave Hammer was removed from the game, and I kind of talked about alternatives to the Shockwave Hammer, and I talk about how it's very likely that it will be nerfed going forward, or removed from the game potentially at some point in the future. And today we just got the nerf of the Shockwave Hammer. We've made an adjustment to the number of Shockwave Hammer bounce charges, reducing it from 4 to 3. The Ageless Champion Shockwave Hammer is unchanged, so the Mythic will still have 5, but every other hammer is going to have 3 charges max. Overall, I don't think this is a huge deal. It is a step in the right direction, probably. I like the Shockwave Hammer, but it definitely was pretty overpowered, and it was very spammy, so I think this reduction is probably a good thing. But I'm going to let the rest of this video play out that I had made, talking about some alternatives to the Shockwave Hammer, if you feel like it is useless after this nerf. If you guys enjoy this video, give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of the Shockwave Hammer nerf, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks for watching. What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about playing without the hammer, because recently, on Monday of this week or Sunday, Epic vaulted the hammer to fix a bug with it, and it was only vaulted for one day, but the reception among the community was pretty wild. There's a lot of players that seemed to be distraught with the removal of the hammer, and seemingly had no idea how to play the game. So today I'm going to talk about what items would be good for kind of filling the role of the hammer, and how you want to play if the hammer is eventually removed from the game again, because there's been a lot of bugs this chapter so far. I wouldn't be surprised if the hammer gets removed to fix bugs in the future. I also wouldn't be surprised if it gets nerfed or inevitably removed from the game, because everything in Fortnite is pretty temporary. I believe the only items that have existed in BR throughout the entirety of BR's life cycle and never been vaulted were bandages, medkits, and big pots. That's it. So we're going to talk about the hammer today. If you guys are playing without the hammer today, if you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, and comment down below what your favorite item is to replace the hammer so far in Chapter 4. So I think a lot of people do not understand why mobility is super important in Zero Build. So mobility is important not only for getting around the map. I feel like that is the main kind of use people think of it for, is like, I can't get around the map quickly without the hammer. But another reason why mobility is super important in Zero Build is because if you get caught in an unfortunate circumstance or bad timing, mobility is one of the only ways to save yourself in that situation. And with the way this game is, it's a BR with 100 people on the map at any given time. Obviously it's lower than that usually, always, pretty much. But anyway, there's 100 people on the map. The map is really wide open. It's not like there's cover everywhere. It's not possible to be safe all of the time unless you're literally just hiding all game long and then you happen to land in the spot where zone is going to finish. There's going to be times where you're exposed, and if you're trying to get high kill games or you're trying to play aggressive, there's going to be a lot of times where you potentially get bad timing. Pretty much the only way to avoid bad timing is just to hide and camp all game, like I said. So bad timing will happen. And without mobility in the game, or without items to kind of address this problem, the game really just becomes about who sees who first. If you get seen first and the opponent gets first shot on you, you're probably going to lose that fight. But with mobility, you can kind of reposition, heal off, heal up, reposition again, get some shots on them. You just have so many more options with how you want to play a fight. And that is why mobility has always been super important in Zero Build ever since it came out. Cool. So there's a few items that kind of address this problem. Not only is it going to be other mobility items, but also items that can protect you, like the Portabunker or the Guardian Shield. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Shockwave Bow. I feel like this is just the most natural kind of one-to-one replacement for the Shockwave Hammer. It's not identical to the Shockwave Hammer, but it's another really good mobility item that can get you around the map really quickly. The really unfortunate thing about the bow, the only reason why it's not like a top-tier meta item, is because you get it from an augment. And you need the augment to get it. And then you also need the bow specialist augment to make it ideal, because with the bow specialist augment, not only do you regenerate arrows, but you pull the arrows back faster, and that makes your mobility much more usable. You know, with the hammer, you start getting shot, you switch to it, you tap the dash button, and you're out of there. With the bow, you have to swap to it, pull the arrow, and then shoot the ground and get yourself out of there, or shoot a tree or whatever, shoot something to project yourself the other direction. And that time is a problem, especially if it isn't loaded. So if you're like shockwave bowing onto somebody and then you swap to your weapon right away, when you swap to the bow again, it might not be loaded right away. Your character has to like pull another arrow, and then when you tap the fire button, they start pulling the arrow again. So you need the augment to get the bow, unless one of your teammates are going to get it and give it to you, or you get it from somebody you eliminate. But like, you know, naturally you're probably going to get it from the augment. And then you also need the bow specialist augment. And then a lot of people also really like running soaring sprints with the Shockwave Bow, because this makes your jump much higher. And that is 3 augments dedicated to a single playstyle. Whereas the hammer You can get it just from looting. You don't need augments for it at all, and it's just easier to swap to and dash out of the way if you're in like a scuffed situation. So that is why the hammer is more popular, I'd say. It's just easier to come by, and you kind of free yourself up to use other augments. When the hammer was vaulted, I was trying to get the shockwave bow. I wanted it in every single game, and I ran through a lot of gold during that single day. For the average player, I don't think you're just going to be able to cycle through augments and get not only the bow, but bow specialist and soaring sprints every game if you want to do that. So that is why the bow, I don't think, is better than the hammer if they're both in the game. But if the hammer is ever removed or nerfed again, I could definitely see the bow overtaking it. And then the bow also has some nice benefits because you can use it to move enemy players around. This is really big in zero build. Whenever you shoot somebody, they end up going behind cover to heal or whatever. You can shoot the arrow in such a way where it's going to knock them away from their cover into a wide open area where you can get an easy kill or knock them into zone potentially endgame. And that's also really good. But the bow is great. I just don't really use it typically because I would rather run augments for different things. And I feel like the hammer is just more reliable. The fact that you could swap to it, hit one button, and you're out of there versus potentially having to pull another arrow if you mess it up, if you didn't reload it before, which I'm pretty bad at because I'm pretty much always streaming while playing this game. So my attention is divided. And then also you have to pull it back the right amount. If you don't pull it back enough, you won't get the shockwave effect. So it's easier to mess up the shockwave bow, whereas the hammer is super easy to use and it's easier to come by. So I think that's why the hammer is more popular. Another mobility item that's in the game is impulses. And these aren't great, but they do allow for a bit of mobility. You know, you can kind of get yourself out of a clearing or an open area potentially to some cover. You can use them like I was talking about before with the shockwave bow where you throw them and then knock somebody out of their cover. And with the soaring sprints augment, you can use them to avoid fall damage. But I feel like if you're in a situation where you have to use impulses, it's not great. I didn't enjoy using them when the hammer was gone. I'll take them. It's better than no mobility, but it's not preferred. And then another thing I forgot to touch on with the shockwave bow, and this is true for the impulses as well. If I haven't been able to get a hammer yet, and then I get the shockwave bow augment, I don't mind using it at all until I can come by a hammer. It's fine. It's just not really my preferred playstyle. I'm not going to make it happen all the time. But if I don't have a hammer, I would love to have the shockwave bow. So keep that in mind if you're kind of struggling to secure a hammer, you land at a spot where there's no Oathbound chests. The shockwave bow is very good, and if you happen to come by that augment while you don't have other mobility items, that's great. So, and then the impulses are the same way. The next items that are going to be good solutions for kind of bad timing in zero build or unfortunate timing in zero build. I want to say unfortunate timing because a lot of it isn't out of your control. Like I was saying, if you're moving around the map, you're going to get caught in some unfavorable situations. So it's not necessarily bad timing. It's just naturally the state of things. But bunkers and the Guardian Shield work great for this as well. So if you don't have any mobility, carrying some of these items can help alleviate that. If you're in a bad situation or you're traveling around the map, just run around with your bunkers out. You start getting shot, look down and throw it. You could do that very quickly, and then you have cover, and then you can respond to the opponents adequately. This worked exactly the same way when, with the Portaforts when they were in the game. So if you can't find the hammer, you can't find the shockwave bow, you can't find impulses, bunkers also work great. And in team game modes, it's really nice to have somebody on your team carrying bunkers. It's a solid item. It's just one of those things where we usually don't have enough inventory slots to really warrant carrying it. But if you can't find mobility at all, you can use the bunkers to kind of alleviate that unfortunate timing circumstance. And then the same is true with the Guardian Shield. You can put the shield up to block bullets. You can throw it on the ground and create cover for yourself. The cow catchers as well, to a lesser extent. Cow catchers aren't as great, in my opinion, as like the bunkers. And the Guardian Shield also isn't as great as the bunkers, because if you throw a bunker and then you go in that bottom part, you're shielded from 360 degrees pretty much, whereas like the shield is only 180 and the cow catchers is kind of 180 as well, but depending on the angle, they might just be able to shoot you through it easily. But yeah, mobility is great for alleviating unfortunate timing, but so is like cover items like the bunkers, the Guardian Shield, and cow catchers. And then the final thing we're going to talk about, which can kind of be a version of mobility and cover at the same time, is going to be cars. So cars will allow you to get around the map faster, and you can also use them as cover depending on the situation. The only downside really is that you draw a lot more attention to yourself using cars than you do just walking around the map normally. And then also in the event where someone just like has a lot of firepower, they can blow up your car somewhat easily, especially in team game modes. And then you have like a bigger problem than what you had before, because not only has your cover been destroyed, but also the ground is on fire. But cars can be a version of mobile cover. I don't know why I've seen a lot of Fortnite players kind of sleeping on this. This is very big in other BRs. You know, Warzone, I played that a good amount, and using cars as cover, using cars as mobile cover, depending on the zone, was a pretty big deal. And then also in PUBG, I didn't play PUBG very much, but from what I played of PUBG, the meta seemed to really revolve around kind of having a car as mobile cover. And that's one of the reasons I actually preferred Fortnite early on, is because I didn't really prefer that playstyle. But cars can be mobile cover, and if you're in a zone where there just isn't any cover, try to find a car. This isn't always going to be the case, but if you're in a scuffed zone and you are able to find a car somewhere, this is going to make your life much better because you have cover wherever you need it. The other people don't. You are going to be drawing attention to yourself, and you might end up in a situation where they fry your car, but I would rather have a car than have no cover at all. You know, it's not the best thing ever, I think. It has its downsides, but it's certainly better than nothing. So that is going to be it for today's video. Just wanted to quickly go over those things because I mentioned that I was making a video like this in my patch notes video this week, and a lot of people said they would like to see it. Like I said, some people don't have an easy time getting a hammer for whatever reason. A lot of that is going to be problems with your drop spot. You want to be landing where there's Oathbound chests. But also in the event that it's nerfed further and isn't worth carrying in the future, or vaulted, which will inevitably happen, nothing in Fortnite is permanent. Knowing these things and kind of understanding why mobility is so important and what items you want to carry to kind of improve that unfortunate timing or reduce the impact unfortunate timing has on your gameplay can be super important, because in zero build, timing can be like 90% of what determines the outcome of a fight. But that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys found it informative, helpful. Remember to give a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.